Some pistols are built to serve. These were built to break rules. In 2025, gun makers have lost their minds, and I mean that in the best way possible. Hidden prototypes, banned designs, wild recoil systems that look like they belong in science labs. These aren't pistols you see every day. They're the ones that make engineers argue and shooters grin. Forget polished polymer and safe carry trends. These guns look wrong, sound wrong, but somehow shoot better than anything that came before. One even fires a cartridge so strange people thought the demo footage was fake. Every one of these handguns proves that genius and insanity share the same trigger pull. Stay till the end, because the last one shouldn't exist, yet somehow it does. You'd never notice this thing on a gun wall. No gold, no laser cut serrations, just gray and boring. But then you shoot it, and suddenly it feels like the gun's alive. I dumped this one in dirt at a training range. Didn't clean it, didn't oil it. 3 max later, it's still hitting steel like it's mocking the rest. That's when I stopped calling it reliable and started calling it unkillable. The trigger, way too clean for what it costs. It snaps like it's wired to your nerve endings. Whoever built it didn't care about Instagram, they just cared about war. It's not beautiful, but when everything else jams on you, you'll wish you had ugly in your holster. And that, to me, is real insanity. A gun so normal, it scares you with how right it feels. You don't expect much from something this small, and that's the trap. First time I ran a GX4, I carried it as a backup. Pocket gun, nothing serious. At the end of a long, muddy training day, my main pistol locked up on me. I drew the Taurus just to finish the drill, and it outshot my primary. That's when the range went quiet. Everyone just staring like, did that thing really do that? I wiped the mud off, reloaded, and kept going. No hiccups, no limp resets, just that deep thump you feel in your wrist. It's loud for its size, angry even, like a dog that doesn't know it's small. The slide finish looks rough, the trigger still surprises me. Short, sharp, and confident. Not refined, defiant. That's the shock. You expect compromise from a micro carry, but this one punches up and never apologizes. If the Masada earned respect, the GX4 demanded it, and what's coming next makes them both look tame. Ever hold something so small that you swear can't handle pressure? Ruger Max 9 isn't another toy, but it feels like a backup. Then you pull the trigger and physics just give up. The first shot hit harder than it had any right to. Flat recoil, clean recovery, second shot already in motion before the brain even blinked. It's not supposed to do that, and yet it did. I watched a guy on the range call it a purse gun, but he was speechless 2 mags later, staring at a ragged 1-inch hole at 15 yards. He just muttered, "That's not normal." Everything about this pistol breaks expectations. Slide mass tuned like a race gun, trigger that snaps with a surgeon's nerve, frame that disappears when you holster it. You carry it thinking last resort, but then it fights like it wants to be the first pick. The Max 9 isn't just compact, it's deceptive. The kind of deceptive that earns respect the hard way. And if you think this is wild, the next pistol rewrites what overpowered even means. Everybody's seen a Glock, and that's the problem. You think you've seen this one too. The 19X looks ordinary until it starts proving why every cop, soldier, and back alley instructor keeps bringing it up. I watched a student dump an entire box of ammo through one in a rainstorm. The gun just kept coughing brass like it was bored. Then he dropped it right in the mud, racked it once, fired again, dead center hit. You can't call that reliability, no. That's witchcraft disguised as polymer. The slide to frame balance is weirdly perfect. Too short to be a 17, too long to be a 19, and somehow it feels better than both. That hybrid shouldn't even exist, yet it's become the standard everyone secretly copies. I've tried to hate it, too mainstream, too safe, but every time I need a sure thing, my hand goes straight for it. The 19X isn't exciting, it's terrifyingly consistent, the kind of consistency that breaks expensive guns' ego. And if you think Glock's done being insane, the next one takes overbuild to a whole new level. This one shouldn't exist, at least not from Springfield. The Echelon feels like someone smuggled an experimental gun out of a military lab and forgot to paint it pretty. You line it up, and it barely moves. The recoil feels wrong, too soft, too steady, like the gun knows what's coming before you do. I fired polymer frames, metal frames, custom builds that cost a mortgage. Nothing holds its attitude like this thing. You can hammer a full mag and still see your sights waiting for you. That's not balance, that's some kind of trick. The slide's ugly, angle is awkward, but the math inside it, unreal. Every cut and every timing delay feels engineered by someone who hates failure. Even when dirty, it cycles smooth like it's allergic to hesitation. It's not a copy, it's a warning. And in 2025, this pistol's the reason other gun makers are losing sleep. You won't believe how this one shoots until you do. You think that was wild? Wait till you see what comes next. The HK USP doesn't care about trends, marketing, or even your opinion. It was built in an era when engineers had just one rule: make it survive anything. And somehow, it still does. I once saw a USP get rained on for 3 straight days at a muddy course in Tennessee. The slide was brown, the lube was gone, and it still fired every single round like the dirt was part of the design. That's the thing. It's not fancy, it's just stubborn. The recoil system feels alien, like there's a small suspension kit hiding inside the frame. You even feel it working, a smooth, slow pulse instead of a slap. It's mechanical poetry written by lunatics in lab coats. Every control is oversized, every part exaggerated like HK built it for giants. But when you shoot it, it's gentle, soft, obedient, unnervingly accurate. How something this crude can shoot this calm is beyond logic. That's why the USP still sits in safes all over the world. A reminder that real insanity isn't loud, it's quiet, heavy, and refuses to die. Don't pick that ammo up. Seriously, don't. Looks harmless, right? Then you pull the trigger, and physics just quit on you. The 5.7 fires a round that acts like it hates the laws of handguns. It's light, loud, and unnervingly fast. You don't get recoil, you get shockwaves. I watched one punch through a steel plate that stomped everything else. People went quiet and nobody moved. It doesn't roar, it snaps like a warning. It feels sterile, engineered, too calm for the chaos it creates. That's what makes it dangerous. Precision pretending to be polite. You don't buy it for bragging rights, you buy it because the moment it fires, everyone near it starts rethinking what a pistol can really be. And what comes next? Let's just say calm isn't part of the plan. Don't think modular and smile. Think modular and brace. This one feels like someone took a pistol, opened it up, and said, do more. More barrel, more interface, more options, until the whole thing starts acting like a machine that learned to shoot better than the operator. You slap a dot on it, and the thing becomes surgical. You swap the chassis, and it keeps the recoil predictable like it's been taught manners. Still, it's restless. It wants to be modified, tuned, and perfected. People bring aftermarket parts for fun, but here, they bring them because the gun asks for it. I set one up for a split time test. Different optics, different springs, same shooter. Every swap tightened the strings like tightening a violin until it sang faster. By the end, I stopped measuring times and started watching the holes. Not pretty, it's a clever, hungry tool. You carry it because you want a pistol that grows with you and then outruns you. Hold your breath now, the next one doesn't ask permission to be wild. You think red dot and you picture a toy with a sticker. This one makes you rethink the whole conversation. Grip it wrong and it forgives you. Grip it right and it rewires your hands. The PDP Pro SD is not flashy, it's surgical. The dot sits like a promise, the sights fall in line like they were born to meet it. You press and the roll tightens. The dot eats the bull, the recoil whispers back. Not a slap, a polite shove. I ran a string with a tired shooter after a 12-hour day. He was sloppy, breathing ragged, hands tired. First 3 shots, clean. He blinked, then laughed like he'd been lied to his whole life. That laugh, that's the reaction this pistol demands. It's built for control, not for attention. The slide's geometry, the sear engagement, the trigger cadence, all the little details line up until the gun feels less like metal and more like an extension of intent. You don't carry it for style, you carry it so your hits stay true when you stop being perfect. They said it was done. Too heavy, too old, too 1980s. And yet, the Beretta 92FS refuses to fade. Every generation brings something new, but when you pull this trigger, it still feels like the definition of right. That wide slide, that slow recoil pulse, it's not supposed to be this smooth. It's like time forgot to make it obsolete. I watched a kid run one at the range last month. He'd never touched a metal frame pistol before. First mag, slow fire, dead center. He looked at the target, then at me, and then just nodded. That's the power of this gun. It doesn't ask for belief, it earns it. There's nothing flashy here, just balance, weight, and lineage. Every click sounds like history whispering, still here. And maybe that's the real insanity. When the past refuses to die and still beats the future at its own game. The next one, it doesn't remember history, it rewrote it. 100 years old and it still talks back. The 1911 doesn't adapt to you, you adapt to it. Heavy trigger, solid steel, a recoil that doesn't ask permission. You fight it for the first magazine. By the second, you start to understand why legends refuse to give up on it. Each shot lands with that deep metallic thud. No snap, just authority. It's not smooth, it's deliberate. Every millimeter of that trigger tells you exactly where you stand. Miss once, and it reminds you who's in charge. They keep calling it outdated, and that's fine. It still draws faster, hits straighter, and bleeds confidence in every frame. The rest of the gun world just learned to imitate its attitude. And what's next? Something built on that same defiance, but meaner. Bring the lights down. This isn't friendly, it's a lesson. The Rival S dark side walks into the room and everyone straightens up. Matte skin, blacked edges. It reads like a threat. You pick it up and it measures you. No flattery, no comfort, just pressure. Pull the trigger and it speaks in hard syllables. A snap, a truth. Not loud, not fancy, surgical. It demands posture, breath, and nerve. You think you can outsmart it? You can't. You adapt or you fail. I watched a shooter try to show off. The gun corrected him in 3 rounds. He swore, then he stopped moving wrong, and that's the point. The Rival S doesn't reward ego, it sculpts it. The trigger is a razor, the reset an impatient instructor. The recoil, it's a reminder that pain teaches precision. Give it your sloppy habits and it'll return only honesty. If you seek a toy, then walk away. If you want to be remade, this is the dark tutor you bring to class. Wait for the finale. The last piece doesn't teach, It obliterates expectations. No one saw this one coming. Tisas used to be the brand people joked about. Cheap imports, range toys. And then the PX9 Gen 3 duty showed up and made the joke sound old. This person I know who had one said, "Because I stopped babying guns that can't take the fall." Then he dropped it, concrete slide first. Picked it up, racked it, fired twice, dead center. No crack, no stutter, and no drama. The grip feels raw, like it was carved out of frustration. Triggers clean and reset mean. It points flat, hits faster than you expect, and cycles like it wants to prove you wrong. There's no flash here, just purpose. Every shot feels like a factory worker's revenge on a world that never took them seriously. That's the insanity. A pistol built by a company nobody respected, now embarrassing guns triple its price. This pistol isn't hype. It's humiliation turned into engineering. The PX9 doesn't need validation, it already took it. And if you think this was the peak of crazy, wait till you see what's next. The list isn't over, it's just waking up. You don't look at the alien, you study it like a secret you shouldn't have seen. Everything about it feels wrong, but in the right way. Barrel sits low, the slide doesn't move, and the recoil? It doesn't recoil. You shoot it once and swear the video skipped a frame. The sights never leave the target. It feels fake at first until you're the one holding it. The first time I saw one, it was on a dusty bench beside the usual pistols. Looked like a prop from a movie nobody's allowed to film yet, and then someone fired it and the whole line turned quiet. Even the brass ejection felt deliberate, like choreography. It doesn't feel mechanical, it feels engineered by obsession. Every piece locked in a way that dares physics to complain. No polymer warmth, no nostalgia. Just precision so cold, it's uncomfortable. People say it's over-designed, and they're right, but that's what makes it brilliant. You don't shoot the alien for defense, you shoot it to see what the future feels like, and it finally feels here. And the insanity? This isn't the end of the list, it's the beginning of what's coming next. It arrives like an apology for subtlety. First report, a world rearranges. Not loud in the normal way, loud as if the air itself objects. The brass pops like small fireworks. The muzzle flame is a story you feel on your face. You don't shoot this out of practicality, you shoot it to see if you can handle the moment. Most people laugh on the walk back to the truck and then wince at their wrist the next morning. That's part of the debt you pay for a gun this honest. It's heavy, clumsy, and somehow perfectly tuned where it counts. The mechanism cycles with a dignity that contradicts the chaos that it makes. That contradiction is the point. Absurd power that actually works. If a pistol can be theatrical and useful all at once, then this is it. The Desert Eagle is less of a tool and more of a dare that you take home and keep telling stories about. This shouldn't exist. 30 rounds in a handgun this light feels like someone broke a rule and never told the engineers about it. Pick it up and you'll mistake it for a toy until you first press that trigger. The crack is sharp, the flash too bright for a .22. The slide snaps back like it's surprised to be alive. You grin before you even realize how ridiculous it is that this thing works at all. There's no heaviness, no authority, just a kind of laughing insanity that never stops feeding. 30 shots feel infinite when each one sounds bigger than it should. People call it unreliable, and maybe they're right, but sometimes mad ideas don't need to be perfect to matter. The PMR30 is what happens when someone decides to build a dream instead of a duty gun. It breaks rules by simply existing. You don't bring it to impress anyone, you bring it to see what 100% curiosity feels like with a trigger. And when the mag finally runs dry, you look down and realize you just laughed your way through insanity. 3-round bursts that feel surgical. That's the 93R for you. It's not about full auto shock, it's about measured, violent precision. 1 pull, 3 bullets, and the world suddenly has rhythm. You expect recoil to go sideways, but instead, it compresses into a clean, hard pulse that launches the target and leaves a hole 3 beats wide. The folding stock and compensator look like style choices until you try to run it fast, and then they're the reason it behaves. It's an old idea pushed in a new direction. Give a pistol short bursts and force discipline into chaos. I've seen people grin, then frown, and then grin again. It's intoxicating and slightly illegal in the heart. You don't take it to a competition, you take it to prove a point. That control can be brutal and beautiful all at once. If madness had a metronome, the 93R would be ticking it. Every gun on this list proves something. Innovation isn't neat, and progress isn't polite. Sometimes it looks ridiculous until it wins. That's the truth about these insane pistols. They exist because a handful of designers refused to think safe. Some of them failed hard, some rewrote the playbook, but all of them remind us why this industry never stands still. So here's the real takeaway. The gun that surprises you most is the one that teaches you the most. It forces you to think again about what matters. Control, reliability, purpose. Everything else is noise. Now tell me, which one of these blew your mind and which one do you think shouldn't exist at all? Drop your pick in the comments down below. And if you want more of this kind of madness, subscribe, because next time we're going deeper. The prototypes nobody was ever supposed to see. This has been Steve, and I'll see you in the next vid.